Yeah, no, I had to leave anyway, so I just wanted to, we'll do it.
All right, so hello everyone. We're going to get started now.
Yeah, good.
This is Armin Magnelli, and I'm going to mute everyone's phones for the moment. There's a little bit of background noise, so that'll calm things down a bit. What I will do is I will unmute Janelle Foltz, my colleague at Community Development Software, and ask her to let me know if anyone has any questions. If you have a question, please enter it in the chat section on the lower right-hand corner of the panel for GoToMeeting. And Janelle just posted a message up there in the chat for everyone about asking questions there. Then Janelle will let me know if anyone has a question. So there. All right, so I'm going to just get started. We have a number of points we want to cover today about HDP Online Bidding, and I'm going to get right into that topic. We're going to show you what the application looks like, how it works for you, how it works for the contractor that does the bidding. We'll be going through a number of different steps in the process, and so towards that end, I want to show you a little flow chart of how HDP Online Bidding process works. It starts with your having completed a scope of work that you want to bid out. And in HDP, we have a new function now with the more recent versions of HDP around bidding that we call creating a bid request. And this is essentially how you set up a bid and set it up in a way that allows contractors to submit bids to you. And we're going to go over that process in a moment. And the next thing you would do is after you've set up the bid request, that you would send the bid request to HDP Online Bidding function. And in that process, you'll also be inviting contractors to bid. Now, taking kind of a step back from this, we would recommend that prior to sending the bid request to HDP Online, that you would go ahead and invite contractors to bid. What we call this sending them a join request, and that is asking them to join HDP Online Bidding for your organization. And this is a very simple thing. They get an email with instructions of how to register. It doesn't cost the contractors anything to join. And they will, as part of registering on the website, which is the next step in the process for them, they will go ahead and enter their email address as a username and then create a password of their own. And very important step in the process because it's what's makes the bidding process secure. The contractors will each have their own unique password, and of course they need to remember that password. And so going back to the next step for them, after you send the bid request up, any contractor who has registered after being invited to do so will receive invitations to bid as you deem necessary. You get to pick which contractors get to see which bid requests. So the contractor then would get an email online and receive this invitation to bid, have access to the specs for that address, they could then submit a bid online, and you can have a bid opening. So there you go. That's the process. Fairly straightforward. Two different processes in hand here. One is your work, creating the scope of work, creating the bid request, and then sending it up to HDP Online. And then the second sort of set of tasks is you're inviting contractors to bid. They're going to the website, registering, receiving invitations to bid, and then submitting bids. All right, so now what we'll do is we'll walk through the process. So I'm going to go through the top portion of this flow chart first, and then I'll show you how the contractors get invited and registered. So this is a screen, typical screen for HDP, and in this HDP screen, we are on the Bids tab here. This tab is the second in line after locations. It is possible that many of you may never even have gone to the Bids tab in the past, but here's a typical address in HDP, and locations tab. I'm sure those of you that use HDP regularly are very familiar with this screen. The Bids tab is the next tab to the right from locations. So let's say you've completed your scope of work, you're ready to create a bid request. Guess what you do? You click on the Create Bid Request button, and you get this window, this Create New Bid Request window. So there's 4 basic sections to this window. Number 1, we ask you to name the bid request. And the reason we ask you to create a name for it is because you can create more than one bid request for an address. You could, if you cared to, act as a general contractor and bid out separately to each of the subs and have a separate bid request for each of the subcontractor trades. Or maybe you want to do your lead remediation work first and then do your rest of your construction after that in 2 separate bids. Or maybe you want to do demolition first, get the property cleaned out, and then have contractors come in and bid on the regular rehab work. Regardless, there's a couple different scenarios where you might have more than one bid request, and so we have to differentiate between them. So even if you're just going to have one general contract, we still ask you to name the bid request. That was a long-winded explanation for something fairly simple. And then the second thing we ask you to do is set the bid opening and bid closing dates. These are very important because these are the dates that the bid will actually be available to contractors to enter information, and then the deadline by which they have to enter that information. If they try to enter after that, they'll get a message that explains to them that, sorry, you're too late. The third thing that you have to define for this bid request is how you're going to track the bids. At what level of detail do you want the contractors to give you their bid information? The most detailed way would be by line item. We have a preference in this regard by tracking type. We like the by line item because it gives you the most information. You could also have it tracked by trade or just by a total dollar amount. 3 pretty standard ways to do this. One big advantage of doing it by line item is that when the contractors submit their bids at that level, you will now begin to gather bid data at the line item level, which will give you now the ability to look at what contractors are bidding, and HDP will actually be able to tell you what the average unit cost bidders what average unit cost bidders are submitting for every spec that you've bid out. This is a great source of unit cost data, the best possible source of unit cost data in our estimation, so if you collect it at the line item level, you're creating your own local cost database, which is just great, very important. Final thing, number 4 here, set trade selection. You have to decide whether you're going to ask for one bid for all the work, or you're going to separate it out by trades. If you separate it out by trades, then you'll have to define which trades are associated with which bid request. And here's a completed screen. When I have I typically name my bid requests by the address and then what type of contract it is, if it's general contract or subcontractor. Sort of a descriptive name of the type of contract I'm looking for. Got bid opening and closing dates entered. I stayed with by line item and stayed with general contract. And what happens as you fill these in and then click OK, you can also enter bid instructions at the 3rd tab in this screen. There's 3 tabs to the Create Bid Request screen. The General tab, the Included Trades tab, which you have access to if you said earlier in item 4 that you were going to have separate bid requests for different trades, and then this bidding instructions. And so you can set this so that there's a start, there's actually a time for a site visit, like an open house, that is published along with the bid, and you can also add special instructions. So for instance, here I set a pre-bid site visit date and time for a few days ago at noon, and just put in this bid package as a test as the instructions. I'm sure you could all imagine lots of different things you could put in the instructions here. All right, so next to that, clicked OK. Suddenly we've got this bid request defined in a list here. If you select that bid request by highlighting it, then what happens is we have a number of buttons that appear. You've got the Add Bid button where you can manually add bid data. If a contractor gives you a bid on paper, you can go back to the bid request properties, which is the screen that we have just looked at previously. You can delete the bid request, or you can send the bid request to HDP Online. So what we will do now is show you what happens when you click the Send Bid Request to HDP Online button. We have a little wizard that you'll get. You are now connected to the HDP Online Bidding server, and this is just a hello screen. You click the next button, and this for you which contractors will get this specific bid request. You can either click on the top radio button up here and have every construction company that is in your list have access to the bid request, or you can pick particular contractors. So I picked a couple, and then clicking the next button, the wizard asks you to give all the bidders a contact to be in touch with. So I have my name up here, and you can either use one of the contacts in your contact list, or you can put separate information in, create a new contact. So this information will show up on the HDP Online Bidding screen that the contractors see as they're entering bid information, so that if they have any questions, they know who to call. All right, so we're finished. We click Finish. We give you a little message that tells you that you that it worked, and there you go. This is what the email looks like that the contractor receives. In this case, it's going to our buddies at Sticky Construction, saying there's a new bid request available. It's been gives you the bidding start and end times, and there's a link that the contractor would click on to go to the HDP Online Bidding screen. And when they click on that link, this is what they see. Now, they will have already registered. I will show you in a few minutes what their registration process looks like. But we're showing you what happens when they get the email telling them that if there's a bid that's been made available, they click on the link in the email, and this is the screen that they see. So they have to log on. They have to use their password. So they put their email address in, they put their password in, they click log in, and this is the screen they'd see. Now, there could be more than one address here, but in this case, there's only one address. They have to select the address, and when they do select the address, the next screen they see is a listing of all the bid requests that are available for that address. This will probably be the last time I remind you, but you could have multiple bid requests for one address. In this case, there's only one. It's the general contract. And so if they select that bid request, then they get into the meat of this. There are 3 steps to their process. They can prepare for doing a site inspection. They can read any pre-bid instructions that you sent to them. They can print the specs by location, or they can print the specs by trade, or print both. And if they click the next button, then it takes them to the screen where they could enter their numbers. And they would go here after they've put together their bid, and then they can enter their bids. And remember, we did this at the line item level, room by room. And they can also enter it by trade if they want to. They can switch to a screen that sorts the line items by trade. I'm going to show you this screen is what it looks like by location. Right now we're in the kitchen locations there, and these are the 3 line items of work in the kitchen. And the contractor will put in their bid amount. There's directions off to the left here. It gives them the title of the spec, the description of work, the number of units and unit of measure, and and then they put their price in here. In this case, Sticky bid $450 for this drywall work, $300 for the painting, and $575 for the underlayment and linoleum. So the only tricky thing about this screen is for these numbers to take and be registered. The contractor has to hit this update bid button. We intentionally made this a very require the contractors to assertively update the bid as part of the process. Bidding being what it is, we wanted them to have to go through a step to actually enter it. All right, so contractor goes room by room and inputs their information. After they've done that, and they come back to this screen, it'll show a little blue check mark next to every location where they've completed the location. In this case, there's a general requirements spec that wasn't completed, and so they have to go back and fill that item in before they can finally submit their bid. After submitted bid, after they're done, when they get to this item 3, submit your bid screen, it'll tell them if they're too late. And that's what this message down below says. Sorry, bid period for this bid request has ended. And by the way, this is the number you entered. So if they do not get it in on time, it doesn't allow them to actually submit their bid. No more arguments about whether the bid got in on time. If they click the button for printing what they submitted, this is a sample of what they would get. And it's a detailed listing of all the specs, the spec title, and the quantity and the unit of measure and what number they entered. And this one is by location, and then lists all the different work items within each location, and also their total bid amounts. And they can print this out if they want, so they have a record. So there you go. That's the process for submitting the bids. And Janelle, do we have any questions we should answer at this point?
Not yet. You're doing such a great job. No questions so far.
Yes, I must be a brilliant trainer. That's the only explanation. Or perhaps we made this application so easy that there's no need for questions. Okay. All right. So that's what happens for submitting the bids. That's that part of the process. When you want to send an invitation to a bidder or a contractor to participate in this HDP Online Bidding function, you go to what we call the HDP Online Bidding admin page. This is available to subscribers of HDP Online Bidding through the Tools menu. Once you subscribe to HDP Online Bidding, there's a new item becomes available on your list of menu options in the Tools menu. Click on the admin item, and then this window pops up. And if you click on the contractors item in this menu, then and select Manage Construction Companies from the list, this is the screen where you would select contractors that are in your list of construction companies in HDP, but that you have not yet invited to participate in HDP Online Bidding. So you can pick a join request or pick any contractor and then send them the join request by clicking on that button, and they get an email saying, hey, why don't you join HDP Online Bidding Service? Easy to use, there's no charge to you, et cetera, et cetera. They get a link to take them to the page to log in and create their secure password. And we also give them at that point our contact information at the bottom of the screen by a toll-free phone number and also a support email, so that if they have any questions for us about how it works, we can answer that for them. On their login screen, after they log in, they can manage their own profile, and that's what this screen is for. Put in information about their company, and at the bottom of the screen, it'll show them which companies they're eligible to submit bids for, just in case there's more than one entity that they submit bids to that has HDP Online Bidding. And there you go. So as a quick review to the process, you complete your scope of work, create that bid request, showed you how to do that, send the bid request to HDP Online Bidding if you subscribe to that, inviting all your contractors or specific contractors to bid. Prior to that, you would have sent a join request to your contractor. The contractor would have registered if they cared to, and then they would receive bids as you send it out to them. They can take a look at the job, visit the site, submit a bid, and then you have a bid opening. So a couple points to consider. If you subscribe to HDP Online Bidding, you're only charged for bid requests that you send up to the server. If you're looking for some ideas about how to talk your contractors into participating in this, we have a list of contractor benefits on our webpage. And there's also a return on investment calculator on our webpage. And this is a little tool to help you figure out how much this could save your organization. And it's essentially based on the idea that if you would be trying to track bids, especially at the line item level on your own, manually, how much time that would take versus using HDP Online Bidding. If you have multiple users on a network installation, you only need one subscription to our online bidding function. Chanel, in particular, is available during regular business hours on Eastern Time. And most of you, I'm sure, know Janelle already. And so here's a question for everyone. I'm going to unmute the phones for a moment. Can folks imagine that this would work for you? And can you imagine having a bid opening using this product? Any ideas? Any thoughts?
Hey, Armand, it's Dave.
Hey, Dave.
Hey, I can imagine using it. I have a question about the back when you were going through the process, and I think number 2 or 3 was site visit. It sent out a date. I think the request had a bid opening date and a closing date, but I don't remember seeing where it said to the contractor when the site visit date was.
Okay. I'm going to go page back up. Hello? Hello? Actually, what I'll try to do. Hello? Oh, I'm sorry. All right.
I went over there to let him build it without and they caught up at the end. That's what I suggested.
All right. So back here, when you create the bid request in the first place,
Yeah,
you
I
name it,
put it in there.
put in the opening and closing dates.
Yep.
And then this other information.
Yep.
And then on the next screen, or the next tab over the bidding instructions tab, this is where you can set a date and time for a pre-bid site visit.
Okay, go forward now to where we see what the contractor gets in his email requesting this bid.
Oh, it's in the bidding instructions. I didn't print a screen of that. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
Janelle, I'm right about that, aren't I?
It is in the bidding instructions, and as far as in HDP, where you put that information, it's within the bid request. So there's a tab where Armin was showing you that you put the bid opening, bid closing date, the bid request and everything. There's a tab beside that for bidding instructions, and that's where you would put a pre-bid site visit date, and if you had any other instructions, like, contact the homeowner if you, whatever.
That was the screen. Yep. So this is where you enter it, and then back what the contractor sees is when they get onto the web page.
There you go. You just have a screen.
Yeah. There must be a time lag between my talking and what's up here, because at least I suspect that's the case. It's when you on this screen, if they click the read the bidding instructions, that's where any special instructions you gave them would show up, and also where
the time and date of the site visit.
Yep, you got it. And you could detail, obviously, you could add more detail about the site visit in those bidding instructions if you cared to.
Well, can you click next now?
This is just a PowerPoint.
Oh, okay.
This is where they would see.
Yeah. See, now it went to after site visit, and I guess it's in there, but it's not in the PowerPoint.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. My apologies.
No.
We couldn't show you
Go ahead.
every screen.
Yeah.
But that bidding instruction screen, if you had clicked on that, it's literally just a screen that says this is the date and time, and then lists your instructions.
Okay, that's cool.
There you go, Dave. You gave me a good slide to add to this presentation.
No charge.
I'll buy you a drink next time I see you.
No, it's my turn.
All right. So why don't we get back to the HDP Online Bidding before Dave and I give everybody the wrong impression.
Yeah, I think it looks great.
Excellent. So any other questions that folks have?
Armin, somebody asked about, concerns about getting their contractor on board. Do you want to address that? You did a great job earlier or before.
Yeah. Well, there's a couple advantages to contractors. Number one, they don't have to add the numbers up anymore. The website does the math for them, so they can't make a mistake adding up the line items. And the other big advantage to the contractors is if they miss a line item, it'll tell them. So they can't submit an incomplete bid. There's the advantage that they don't have to mail it to you or deliver it. So that's something of an advantage.
Is there a fee for contractors?
I'm sorry?
I'm not clear on, is there a fee for contractors?
No, it's free to them.
Okay.
Yeah. We didn't think we could get away with charging the contractors anything.
Hey, this is Roger Held with the town of Jupiter. It looks pretty good for bids under $25,000 in our case, because I was just reading our purchasing policy, and anything over $25,000, we have to utilize that demand star. So I guess we have to use the demand star. It's like a purchasing internet advertisement clearinghouse. So it looks like we might have to make some adjustments to our purchasing policy.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Would it be unreasonable to do both? It works.
Yeah, maybe some duplicate work. I don't know. We're going to take a look at it, but we do like the way that you can send someone over and the scope of work and put it all in, so everybody's bidding on the same thing.
Yep. Yep. We believe that this actually is a little more secure than a paper system, because no one can open the bids until the bid opening date, and someone someone with a password, an administrator with HDP, will have to open it. So you could actually have a formal bid opening using a projector and connected to a computer with HDP on it at your office if you wanted to. Janelle, did you have something you wanted to say?
No, haven't gotten any other questions.
Okay. All right. All right. Well then, I guess, hearing no other questions, I'll just encourage everyone to be in touch with us. If you have questions or you want to discuss something specific to your organization, we're happy to do that. Janelle will make herself available, as will I. And do you have any questions at all or concerns? Just please let us. We'd be happy to chat about this.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a great day.
Thanks, Janelle.
Take care.